This is the Happy Hour Network.
Pay attention, son. This is for your own good.
Today's sponsor is Audible.com, who has more than 180,000 audiobooks and spoken word audio products. Get a free audiobook of your choice at www.audibletrial.com/late-night-parents. Why Audible? Audible content includes more than 180,000 audio programs from the leading audiobook publishers, broadcasters, entertainers, magazine and newspaper publishers, and business information providers. That's audibletrials.com/late-night-parents.
Cut the music. We're back. This is Ted Hicks for Late Night Parents. Happy to be here. It's March 2nd, 2016. Right now it's 1 minute past the hour. I want to apologize to the people that, I don't know, if you listen to a rough opening, we're still working things through. There was just total, utter chaos here at the Hicks household this past week. So much has happened. But as usual, the ways to get in contact with us, catch us on Twitter, Late Night Parent. You can catch me at my handle, The Real Ted Hicks. Catch us on Facebook.com/Late Night Parents. You can go to our portal where it all happens, latenightparents.com. And for those of you that are lazy, it's lmp.tv. As I mentioned, happy to be here, but we couldn't do this without the best media partners in the world. As you know, we air every week live on the Happy Hour Network, and we are also streaming and syndicated through various channels. So I want to say thank you to a few friends. You and I are one. That's UNIR1.us via TV and their radio network, Mr. Scott Price, LifeImprovement.com, Life Improvement Radio, Mr. Eric Rimmel, I-95 Sports Network, that's Bobby Blackjack, NGSC Sports, and they also power us on the iHeartRadio app, Mr. Ralph Garcia. Want to say thank you. The Underground, the Under.us. We got to give a shout out to the big homie 9-0 for always playing us every Thursday and Saturday on his network. We're going to go across the pond really quick to the UK. Mr. Tiz Shearer, I want to say thank you for playing us on XRP Radio. That's xrp.co.uk. You can stream us 24/7 on the 405radio.com. Thank you for streaming us 24/7. Arena Sports Network and Mr. Brian Snow, want to say thank you for airing us 11 p.m. Catch us every night, Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. Eastern Time. You turn to that station, and you can find us. Also, the Jimagination U Network, Genuinely H5, airs us on Thursdays. Want to say thank you guys for spreading the wealth, being helping me get this message out, and really, you know, we're gonna start right there. I had some chaos and mayhem this past week. One morning, I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday morning of last week, we didn't have a show. And I know you were like, oh my goodness, I missed the show. Or you were at the point of you missed the show and you weren't sure why. Well, the reason why was believe it or not, 5:30 in the morning, I woke up, getting ready to prepare myself for work and waking the kids up, and I stepped down from my bed, and I stepped into water, and I said, "Oh my goodness, did I have an accident? What? All these thoughts are going through my head 5-something in the morning, and I'm looking at my wife, and I'm like, oh my goodness, it's that time because with some men, once they get around 40ish, certain things start happening, and if they don't take care of themselves, that just prompts you to want to go to the doctor. But I stepped down into water, and I wasn't sure, and I finally, put things together and said, okay, it's not me that had the accident. What's going on? So I was thinking maybe a toilet overflowed or something happened. I go outside my room and leading towards my office, and I see more water. I'm like, oh my goodness, and I'm looking up at the ceiling thinking, the bathroom toilet overflowed from up above, but that wasn't the case. My water heater broke. And I got to tell you, I went in there, water was everywhere. I'm in a split-level ranch, so no basement, split-level ranch. So the water was in the laundry room. The water was backed up into my bedroom. It was an utter mess. So I want to tell you guys, the men of the house, make sure you check the boiler. Make sure you have that plumber on hand to handle the things that that you need to handle. Guys, we're head of the household. We got to make sure everything is working. Want to thank the good people from ProServe in Farmingdale, New York. Want to thank State Farm for stepping up and handling your business. And we're in the process now of looking for carpet and replacing wood floors and everything else like that. So I say that was the reason why there was no show. It's now 7 minutes past the hour. Wanted to thank our radio partners as we do every week. Ways to catch us, as you can hear us on various different methods, digital, through internet radio and above. But tonight's show is called Numbers. And I usually name a certain show for a specific reason. But what's important to me is last month we celebrated Black History Month. This month, the month of March, is Women's History Month. So we're really excited about that. We're going to this month focus on amazing women that are making the things, making the moves to make a difference around here. We got two great guests tonight. Miss Jessie Nunez and Miss Tali Orad that are going to talk with us. We're going to talk a little bit about, we talk about parenting, we talk technology, we talk education, a little bit of sports. Had a discussion about sports today, and we do product reviews. But one to speak, our lead guest tonight, Jessie Nunez, I got to tell you, her portfolio is so vast. Really excited because she's a family tech expert. She's the publisher of the Wired Family, tech blogger for Babbel editors, all types of tech tips, things for the family, all the above. Really excited to have her on. And she also happens to be my colleague in this Fios New York group that I've just started. So really happy to have Jessie on. Jessie, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Pretty good. Thanks for taking the time out tonight to join us on the live podcast. You could be doing anything right now, but you're hanging out here with us, with the folks at Late Night Parents. So it's kind of like the Wired Family meets Late Night Parents. I don't know if this is like a WWE show or something, but
well,
really,
it's a pleasure.
really excited.
It is a pleasure. Thank you so much for inviting me on. I'm super excited. This is awesome. My kids are in bed.
Oh, good, good.
At least the house is quiet. You won't hear the thumpings of my almost 3-year-old. But I'm super excited to take part in your show and talk tech and parenting and all things crazy. I heard your story about your water heater. I had a similar experience with my water heater. We were lucky enough, though, that I happened to be in the basement when it happened, and I was looking for a pair of socks, and all of a sudden I hear this gushing water. And I'm like, what is that? So I opened up the room where the water heater was, and it was full of water. But luckily, we were lucky because our home is pretty much, it's a fairly new construction. So the builder kind of built a hole, so that's where the water was going. Right. So it didn't spread out, but we didn't have hot water for a few days, and we're like, wow, this isn't fun.
You get to see the necessities of what you need. You know, you need electricity and running water, and those are the things that we need most. I got to tell you, Jesse, I mean, my home was constructed in 2002, and I'm kicking myself saying, why didn't the builder build that funnel for us so that the water would funnel out and not into, causing all types of chaos? But that's neither here nor there.
No, that would have been great, because for us, our basement would have been gone, and it's kind of like she cave down here with our toys, because my husband also is into technology, so we have all the kids' toys down here, so it would have not been pretty had the water just gushed out. So we were very lucky about that. So we just, pretty much just had to replace the water heater. But all things considered, it went smoothly. So
I'm so glad to hear that. It was, like I said, it was kind of messy for me. It was touch and go, but the related services did step up and do their job, because if they didn't, I would be putting them on blast on Twitter.
But that's the thing. In my previous life, before kids, I worked in customer service, and that means a lot when, you're in need and you call a company, any company, and just need them to, like you said, step up and just do what they need to do. And it's amazing when it happens and you're like, wow, that was effortless. And that's how it should be all the time. And unfortunately, it's not.
Hey, Jesse, enough about me, and this segment is about you and all the great things that you're doing. I got to tell you, and that noise that you hear in the background is my 8-year-old causing some type of chaos in the family room. So it's really live. So just tell us about the Wired family. Tell us, how did it come about? Tell us about you.
Well, the Wired family came by way of a rebranding. I started blogging in 2006. My son, who was about 6 months old at the time, I was home. I decided, my husband and I, that it didn't make sense living in New York City to go back to work, because my paycheck was pretty much going to go to childcare. So I decided, it was best for me to stay home, and the plan was to stay home for a year. Unfortunately, the job market pretty much crashed. But and I was pretty much out of options. But my husband put me onto Twitter, and he was like, you can connect with other moms. You're a first-time mom. Everyone has questions. Just get on Twitter. It'll be a great way to meet people. So I said, fantastic, I'll do that. And that's how it started. And one thing, and you're going to laugh, is that every time I looked for parenting advice, I'm Hispanic, so looking for parenting advice in Spanish, whenever you would type in the word mommy, M-A-M-I, you would see half-naked women.
Oh.
And so I'm like, that's not the kind of advice I'm looking for.
No.
So I decided to create a bilingual blog. And it was called Hecho para Mamá, which is made for mom. And it was a bilingual lifestyle platform. And I had that for a few years. And then I evolved. I was very much into tech. I always have been. And with kids, and I am going to age myself here, but I grew up in the time where dial-up was the hottest thing. So I needed to understand what my kids would be growing up with. And I needed to be a part of that. And I didn't want them to teach me. I needed to be, I guess, a few steps ahead of them in order to kind of like navigate through the life of these digital kids, because essentially our kids are growing up as these digital kids.
Yes.
And that's why I just dove into tech and family tech, because honestly, a lot of the sites that are out there, tech sites that are out there, are very technical, and the average person doesn't get it. They just want to know, does it work? Yes or no. Am I going to have problems? Yes or no. Am I going to have to block my kid? Yes or no. Like it needs to be very black and white when it comes to parents, parents and technology, because not everyone has that level, that technology. Like my husband's into tech, so I can always go to him, but everyone doesn't have an in-home tech person that they can go to. And that's what led me to rebrand and start the Wired family.
Jesse, I got to jump in here. I just want to let our folks know that we're speaking with Jesse Nunez of the Wired family. So you hit upon some key points, because you go to some of these sites, whether it's TechCrunch or Mashable, or whether you're going to Microsoft site and you're looking for specific, information on how do I do this, and they'll give you the technical information on it, but like you said, sometimes you need it in layman's terms, or as us both being parents, you need it in parent terms, saying, hey, I'm looking for XYZ because I want to make sure my kids aren't watching XYZ on their screens, and how do I control something like that? And
absolutely,
there's a gap. So it's really exciting hearing this from you.
No, it is. There is a huge gap, and I just think that for most of us, like I said, I own floppy disks. Right. I had a tower. It was just not the monitor. I had a big clunky tower that I needed to make sure that fan was running at any given time. And technology has changed dramatically since 10 years, 5 years, and the fact that our kids are being bombarded with so much technology, and 9 times out of 10 they don't know how to properly navigate it, and they are either compromising themselves because they're not aware that you can't click on a questionable site because you might download a Trojan virus. They don't get that, and their parents don't get that. Nope. And I think it's important to understand that. It's exhausting to try to stay one step ahead of your kids. But it's important to make sure that you understand what the life that they're going to be living. My kids are young. My kid, I have a 7-year-old and an almost 3-year-old. And my 7-year-old is very tech savvy, but I have limits on him, and I feel like you need balance, and I feel like I am born, both my husband and I are born and raised in New York City. I refuse to have my son look down at a tablet when he has this metropolis that he lives in. Exactly. I feel like it's such a disservice, and listen, to each his own, because I know that there are times where putting a screen in front of their face quiets them down for the 3 minutes that you need to concentrate. And I completely get that. And I've done that plenty of times, but I don't think that it should be a replacement for real life interactions and real life experiences, because there's nothing, a tablet or a computer cannot replace the feelings that your child has towards you or towards other people.
I got to ask you, because like you said, so you have a 3-year-old, 7-year-old, I have an 8-year-old and a 14-year-old. So there's that integration for you and I around that 7 and an 8-year-old, but like, we're at the other end of the scales. I got to tell you, tell me the best learning app that's currently out there in the market.
Well, here's the thing. My son has, my oldest son, my 7-year-old, has a learning disability. And he has something called an auditory processing disorder, which is, in layman's terms, it takes him, when someone communicates with you, your brain processes that information instantly. For him, it takes him a little while longer.
Okay.
And the apps that I use for him are a lot of language apps. I had reading apps, Reading Rainbow, love it.
Yes.
I use Bop It, is great as well because it's like speed. I have Fast Forward, which is part of a learning program for him. I have to say that my kids don't use apps. Like, they don't use the tablets to like play with apps. They have the apps they use are more education based in that sense. They have this one called Bebop. It's
yes.
like a programming. So
yes.
I have him do that. He has by the time he gets out of school, he's pretty much burned out. So he actually doesn't even touch. Oddly enough, he doesn't even touch the tablet. My 2-year-old, almost 3-year-old, he's going to be 3 on Saturday. He is full-fledged terrible to, I think I own the world. He thinks he's 14, so we may have more in common here than we may think. But he is very much into like the PBS apps. I have audiobook apps for them, and they listen to books that way. Very boring stuff, I have to say. There's nothing action-packed in that sense. Just because I want them to just enjoy themselves, enjoy each other, and fight and just interact with each other. So there's a limit, like I mentioned before, there is a limit on how much screen time they get, because I'm very passionate about them learning about each other and learning about, what's right, what's wrong. And like I said before, an app can't teach you that, and that's what we're into right now.
I got to tell you, we're running short on time, but I got to get you back for a one-on-one, because you started to dig into so many different topics. I got to ask you really quickly. We have a little bit of time, but it's so good speaking with you. From your end, tell me something. When you want to put away the apps and you want to put away technology, what are you currently reading right now?
I'm reading Little Life, and the author's name is Hanya Yanagihara. I'm totally butchering that last name. I made a promise to myself to read 4 books a month because I needed to read more and be more disconnected and show my kids. I have a love for reading, and I want my kids to have that same love for reading that I do. And I don't care if it's on the Kindle or on, in a reading app or an audiobook, but I want them to know that the more they read, the more they'll learn, in reference to Dr. Seuss. But
yes.
They need reading is fundamental, and I want my kids to fully understand that and fully know how much they can really learn when they just pick up a book and get lost. There's nothing better than getting lost in a book. And I want my kids to experience that.
I got to tell you, one of the books that I'm reading, just in the line of work that we do, is so similar, because we are expected to be brand ambassadors. We're expected to blog about this, talk about that, jump on this show, do this segment, and there's a lot of parallels here. But I'm reading Dare to Be Extraordinary. It's a collection of positive life lessons from African American fathers, because that topic alone is maybe a 5-hour podcast on where we're lacking, where we need to step up as men, and just not for African Americans, just for all dads. But
absolutely,
this is the specific book I'm reading.
But even culturally,
yes.
Absolutely.
I got to tell you this much. We got to talk a little business. You got to talk a little business because,
yes.
big brother and big sister will be listening to this podcast. Give me your thoughts on, I'm a newbie. I am totally a newbie, and you know where I'm going with this, Jesse.
Yes.
Tell me about Fios New York. It's been great for me for 3 weeks, but you had years worth.
Yes, I've been a customer for 11 years. The minute it became available in our area, we jumped, and it was so in demand that we actually had someone from New Jersey come out to New York to install our service. And it was phenomenal. The technician came out, and there was some kind of a glitch that we couldn't get the service up and running. And he was in my house for like 6 hours until it was fixed. Like, he was calling. It was amazing. And we have not had an issue at all. And I work from home. My husband works from home from time to time, and we're always connected, and there has never been an issue. We are either on a tablet, on a laptop, on, watching, streaming something on our TV, and we have a smart TV, so we have the apps built in. So it's always being always connected. That's pretty much our life. And with Fios, we have had nothing but amazing service. And I'm going to go back to customer service. Their customer service has always been superb. And I can count on one hand, on 3 fingers, the amount of times that I've had to call with an issue. In 11 years, it's unheard of. And they're always on point. That's my biggest thing, is that they're always on point. And you pay for what you get. And
True.
That's also important, because I'm a parent of 2 kids, and kids are expensive, and I want my money to stretch just a little. And with Fios, you get what you pay for. If you don't want a certain service, you don't pay for that service. And it's just knowing that you have something you can depend on, especially when you're always connected, and the high speed, the pictures that I can upload, the download speed, it's amazing. And the amount of shows you can save on your DVR, the list goes on. And like I said, it's been 11 years, and there's no stopping us. And I told my husband, if we ever leave New York City, we need to make sure that Fios is wherever we are. We plan on going, because there's why go with someone else when you've had such amazing service for so long.
So true. I got to tell you, I'm a newbie. I will hold off from my comments because, like I said, you and I are going to do several podcasts because there's so many different topics we can talk about. Our next guest that we do have in the queue, she's a mom, she's a software engineer, and she's created an app and a hardware device called Screen. So I don't know if you have time or not to hang on to listen, but you have the link. You have the link. You can stream it because it's so interconnected of what all the different items that we're talking about tonight. Like I said, it was a blast to have you. I want to give you a round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you
Jesse,
so much.
Oh, please. And you're everywhere digitally, all over the place. So what I want you to do is take this time out, let our listeners know where they can find you, where they can find your work, your website. You are a brand ambassador. So take the time out right now. Let our listeners know, where can we find Jesse Nunez?
Well, the best place to find me is on Twitter, at Jesse Nunez. Anywhere that you find me, it's Jesse Nunez. I keep it simple. Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook is The Wired Family, and my site is called thewiredfamily.com. And it has been an absolute pleasure to be on your show. Thank you so much.
Oh, Jesse, come on. Like I said, we always talk in the chat room, in our super private Fios New York chat room that no one's supposed to know about. That, it was great doing a Twitter chat with you last Monday, and also with the rest of the team. I'm looking forward to great things for our team. I'm like I said, I'm glad to be a part of the team. Glad to know you all the best to you, your family, and your husband. And
thank you. Likewise. Thank you.
We will be talking. So thanks so much.
Absolutely. And we need to talk sports. Baseball season's right about around the corner.
Oh, yes, it is. Like I said, you're going to be back on. Trust me.
Well, it's
all
been
right.
a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Talk to you soon, Jesse.
Take care.
And I want to thank Jesse Nunez for joining us. Yes, we're virtual. It's a digital world. We're friends. We are part of Fios New York, that group, talking about the benefits of it. We want to thank Fios, Verizon Fios, for being one of the sponsors of the show. Thank you guys for all that you do. Want to also thank our friends at Salon Paz for also being one of our featured sponsors. Thank you for the wonderful care package you sent me. Like I said, this was last week. What happened to me last week was, my latest misadventure. Like around Christmas time, I fell off the ladder and hurt my back and all the above. And the story that I told the president of Hamatsu America a few weeks ago. So they sent me a care package of Salon Paz, the creams, the sprays, everything, the bandages. I'm feeling so much better. So we had a great first guest. I just want to make sure she's going to come on shortly. Within the next 2 minutes, we're going to have our next guest on. She's in the queue, Miss Tali Orad. I hope I didn't butcher her name. Really exciting because we're talking technology tonight. I know we usually talk sports and education, but we're talking ed tech tonight. Really excited about it. Going to just do a quick promo for our friends at Audible, and we'll be right back.
Audible is offering our listeners a free audiobook of your choice and a free 30-day trial membership. Just go to audibletrial.com/late-night-parents and choose from over 180,000 audio programs. Download a title free and start listening. It's that easy. Go to audibletrial.com/late-night-parents. That's audibletrial.com/late-night-parents and get started today. Why Audible? Audible content includes more than 180,000 audio programs from the leading audiobook publishers, broadcasters, entertainers, magazine and newspaper publishers, and business information providers. That's audibletrials.com/late-night-parents.
And we are back. We want to thank our friends at audible.com. As always, appreciate all that you guys do for us also. This is kind of like the little podcast that would. Leading off the show, we had Jesse Nunez, and now we have in the queue Ms. Tali Orad. She's a mother of three, a software engineer, and she invented an app and hardware device called Screen that helps families manage all the devices in their home and reconnect in real time. So we're going to bring on Tali. How are you doing, Tali?
Hi, Ted. I'm great. I hope everybody's well as well.
Yes, so well. Everyone's doing great. Thanks so much. I want to tell you, your team, I want to thank your PR team for working with me to get you on the show. I know there was a little bit of back and forth, but the guys are great, and I want to say that you do have a wonderful team. So let's get into Screen. Tell us about how it came about.
Okay, so you said I'm a mom. So I was a fed-up mom of three. I was tired of staring at the top of their heads and looking at them being on the devices all the time. And as a software engineer, I just decided to do something about it, create a Screen, as simple as that.
Wow. I mean, and I you know what? Out of this conversation, Tali, I want to really get smarter because as I was mentioning to our first guest, Jesse Nunez, that my kids are 8 and 14. My 14-year-old, I don't want to ever say my kids are on their own because by trade I'm an IT professional, so I kind of manage and snoop and sneak and view some of the websites that are coming up on some of the devices and in our home. And I'm not afraid to say that because at the end of the day, and at the beginning of the day, I'm a dad, and I need to ensure what's happening. And, there's certain times you're going to need to put limits. There's certain times that your child can never feel like they are on their own or out there because the internet is dangerous.
I couldn't agree more. I can tell you with Screen, basically groundbreaking technology. You manage all devices, all of them are controlled. It's very easy to install. And you know what? I'll just tell you with this story. My son is actually doing his homework right now. And okay. Before, as you said, the snooping dad, so I was the snooping mom, picking behind his shoulder to see before he does the alt tab and switch whatever application was open, seeing that he's actually playing Minecraft and not doing his homework. And currently with Screen, all I do is open the app, and I see that, yes, Word is open, and yes, PowerPoint is open, but there is Roblox and there is Minecraft. So apparently he's not actually doing his homework.
Right.
And all I need to do is just press a button, send him a message, and turn it off. And I can tell you that from experience, other people's experience, the kids, within 5 seconds, you'll either get a text message or you'll get a phone call, or they'll run back to you and say, Mom, you turn it off. I need to finish my homework. And then you'll say, okay, but you're not doing your homework, so let's figure it out. Either you'll go back to doing your homework or you'll have to do it on a piece of paper. On the other hand, Screen comes with a default set of rules. You connect all the devices and it's all in the system, and automatically it gets the nighttime rule that you want them to sleep and not being on the device. And I love that telltale blue light, but not anymore. It's not there anymore. It comes with dinner time that it's not, and homework time. My daughter recently went to a sleepover, and she has Screen obviously installed on her device. All the girls were with their phones contacting everybody else that were not there. My daughter was the only one engaging with everybody else and sleeping when need to because her device was blocked. So it followed the same rule that she had at home when she was someplace else.
So, Tali, I want to stop you for a second and say, so this tool is so powerful because I was thinking it had to be within your network or within your Wi-Fi. You're talking about once the app is installed, whatever rules or permissions you set up, it's going to follow the person?
Correct.
Wow.
You set those rules apply. Applied whether you're home, whether the kids are home, wherever I'm here at work, staying late because of you, thank you. Knowing what my son is doing and knowing that he's actually doing his homework, and if needed, turn it off. And on the other hand, if he'll be at a friend's house, it will apply. Same rules will apply on his phone, on his tablet, on his computer, on the TV, on the game console, on the streaming devices, whatever you can think of, rules apply no matter where they are, regardless of Wi-Fi.
That is really awesome because I know of a lot of, like, for me here, I can control only at the router level. So based on the router and the rules that I have set, but once, like my 14-year-old takes that device and she travels 300 plus feet and it's outside of, the Ted Hicks network, I'm kind of sitting there like, okay, well, what is she watching? How is she using her bandwidth? Because, it's really, really important. But tell me this much. The app itself is cross-platform? I mean, regardless, iOS, Android, how does it work?
It's cross-platform, as you said, Android, iOS, Windows PC, television, Xbox, PlayStation, Roku, Kano, Chromecast. I can go on and on here. Those devices doesn't end. Kindle, iPad.
So, Tali, I got to jump in. Is it just IP-based? Is it just Internet-based? Like if it has a MAC address, Like,
okay, tell me when to stop being too technical. Basically, you install the app on the parent's device, whether it's iOS device or an Android device.
Okay.
You put on your user, email, and password. Now you go to the kid's device. Whether it's the PC, you download the app. You put the same user, the same password, automatically connects to your remote. So you'll see it right away. You'll start screening it.
Okay.
You go to the kid's iPhone, iPad, Android, whatever it is, download the same app. Select that this is the kid's device and not the parent device. Put the same email, the same password, done. It's connected. For the television, we do have the set-top box.
Okay.
All you have to do is take the HDMI of whatever device was connected to your television, whether it's the cable box, whether it's Xbox, the PlayStation, here is the endless list. You unplug it from the TV, you plug it to screen. It comes with additional wires for you to connect it back to your television, and you're done.
Wow. Okay. So tell me about this. There's the technical side of it, and I just want to let you know I've been in tech for almost 20 years, so I'm fine with this discussion right here. I'm really excited about it. So tell me about the soft skills. Tell me about once the application is installed and the child sees that, here's some things that they were able to do, here's some things that they are no longer able to do. What I want to know is the soft skills behind it. Did you sit down with your children and say, okay, there's some new rules. Let's go through X, Y, and Z. Here's how things are going to change.
Okay, so you're bringing to the family something very, very big, right? You're changing the way family is going to now interact with their screens. In order to do that and for that to be successful, you need to get everybody to buy in. Yeah. And what do I mean by that? I mean, going back to myself and my own family, we had our set of rules, and we all know we have more devices than we have people in the house, and kids spend 6 to 9 hours a day on devices, 6 when they're kids and 9 when they're teens. And by the way, that's excluding school-related work, so it's like any given moment. Right. And it's impossible to manage all of that, right? So screen is a tool to help us manage all that. Now, going back to the soft skills, I'm bringing screen to my family, and I want to screen to help me enforce those rules. We sit and we think, okay, this is our homework time. Homework time between 3:30 and 5. We need all devices off besides our computer. Dinner time, we want all devices off, including mom's phone and mom's computer, because otherwise people are going to bother her. And we want her full attention. All those rules, we think about them, we put them in screen. Very simple, very straightforward. Now, after we did that, we all sign. Mom signs, dad signs, the kids sign. You're not binded by law, obviously, but it's an agreement that you made with your family. We did a family meeting for that, and we talked and we signed. It was a cool thing. And then I sent it to them in email, so they got it. I can also share it with social media if I really want to. I prefer not to. Right. And those are our rules. Another thing we did is, and tell me if you relate to that, when my kids have screen on and the devices are blocked, they will stare at the blank screen, and you know what they're going to say? And don't laugh at me. It will be, Mom, I'm bored. I have nothing to do. Right. There's like no toys in the house, nothing for them to do. Why? Because this is what they're used to. So at the same time we're talking about the rules, this is the time where we also talk about alternatives, and it's part of this screen solution. You have your rule, you have your agreement, and you also think of alternatives, and you can write whatever you want. You can start brainstorming with your kids. Our advisors suggest that you'll suggest one, and the kids will suggest one, but you can do whatever you want. We came up with, we're going to play soccer. We pull out the Lego and play, and we do arts and crafts. That's art. And recently, by the way, we found in our screen free time we love knitting. So, but that's I shouldn't have said it in the radio. But anyway, we talk about those.
No. That's great. That's great. Keep going.
So we talk about those alternatives and we put them in screen. And the second those screens are blocked, they will see those alternatives. It will say, this device is not accessible right now. You'll see it within X amount of time. These are your alternatives. Go enjoy yourself. And now they're not going to look at the blank screen. They're going to look at screen's message and those alternatives. Maybe not the first time or the second time, but it will start getting them into the routine. Okay, wait, I said that, I remember, but I don't feel like playing the Lego right now. How about I'll put on sneakers and I'll go shoot some hoops?
Right.
And they do that.
Tali, I got to tell you, that's so important because I'm going to tell you, for one, with my 8-year-old, my son, a lot of times he's sitting there, and whether it's he's watching the TV or he's watching any one of those screens, I find myself saying, go outside. Or I find myself saying, okay, maybe it's time to go read a book. Okay, maybe we should, there's alternatives to just having a screen in front of your face. And, I mean, for me, I kind of feel like he's missing out on his childhood. Because when, I'm going to be dating myself. In the 70s, when I was growing up, there was none of this. There was just, this is pre-cable TV. And you would focus on going outside and being with your friends and doing things, doing extracurricular activities.
Hello?
Hey, did I lose you?
Yes, you did.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I said, as my previous rant was, the fact of the matter is, nowadays the kids are so focused on their screen time versus when they would, when I was growing up and when you were growing up, we were outside. We were playing outside. We were, involved in extracurricular activities outside the house, whether it's soccer or basketball or baseball. It just seems like nowadays our kids, there's a device in front of their face 24 hours a day. And it's painful to see.
I could not agree more.
Do me a favor. Could you tell me about how you started this venture? How did you I understand with you being a mom, but how did you, is this like this is a startup company? Is this, give us some background on that.
It's definitely a company. I was not planning on solving that. I was trying, like most people, parental control tools. And you mentioned the router. So my son actually switched to 4G, and here goes the router limitation.
Right.
Or I had parental control of his computer, and he called me and said, "Mom, I'm locked out of my computer." And I was at work, and I said, "Well, if I give you a password to get yourself more time, you're probably going to do other things that I do." So, and at the end of the day, finish his homework, I was very frustrated. And that brought me to has to be a solution. Having the background technology, being a software and hardware engineer, I just came up with a solution. I'm not alone. There is a team of people working on it, masterminds working on that solution, being done on multi-platform and done well on multi-platform, and the result is screen.
Perfect. So I have to ask you, if someone wants to buy screen, whether it's the software or it's the hardware, tell us best ways to find out more about this your app and the hardware. Tell us where it's available, where we can purchase it, all the above.
Okay. So you go to getscreen.com and you can pre-order the full package. You get the Screen app, the Screen box, and unlimited devices for kids. It's discounted for pre-orders for $99.
Okay. So along with that, just because we're both IT people by trade, I've got to ask you this one question. It's going to be a little painful. What happens in regards to support for your products? Are there just FAQs out there, or is there, like an email address, like parents can email, or is there like a 1-800 number? Give us some information on that.
Okay. It's currently for pre-orders, and we're doing beta. So whoever needs support has my cell phone and everybody else's number. So we want to give you that full experience. I do not want any more frustrated moms. I want us all to be happy like I am with Screen. There is the FAQ on our website. There is a way to contact us via email, and there will be, once it's actually in your hands, a number for you to call for support.
Wow. I'm very, very impressed, Tali. Tali,
I can tell you one more thing. You mentioned the techie, and you mentioned soft skills.
Yes.
One thing that I told you, number one family that is installed is first of all, it's installed on my family. The same as they have my number, I'm checking it on myself as well to make sure everybody's happy. One thing was, I need to thank my kids for that. They unplugged the device, and I'm going downstairs, and I see them watching TV, looking at my phone. Wait, you're supposed not to be watching TV. We added notification for the parents. Parents know if the kids try to uninstall or sabotage. On one hand, they get a notification, but on the other hand, if you have a Screen and you set limitation for between 2 and 4, let's assume you're going to watch TV, it's 3:45. Kids will get a warning on the screens telling them it's about to turn off. If they will turn off by that 15 minutes period of time, parents will get a notification. Now, I'm not just the bad guy, I'm also the good guy. And I'm going in and saying, well, guys, great job. I really appreciate you doing that. So that's another thing I forgot to mention, and I appreciate the opportunity to add that.
Oh, no. Tali, I got to tell you, I want to be a beta user. I'll work with you behind the scenes on getting the device, because I'm really, really excited about it, because I want to do a review on Late Night Parents about it, because this is the type of stuff that us as parents need to know and need to see. Because it's a problem we're running into nowadays, and there's no tried and true solution that's out there.
I agree. There are also a lot of issues with screen time, and I'm sure we can talk about it next time. But it's not just you want to set limitation because you can think, oh, well, technology is a good thing, and I actually pro-technology. It's bringing us wonderful, wonderful things as long as it's done in moderation. And that's the key with screen. It's done in moderation. You need to learn healthy screen habits.
Got you. Tali, I definitely want to give you a round of applause.
Thank you.
I tell you, this is the first time, this won't be the last time that you definitely come on here, because there's, just like our first guest, Jesse Nunez, we always talk technology, because that's, like I said, that's where one of the gaps happens to be with us parents, and I even include myself, even though I've been doing tech for as long as, since the mid-90s. I got to tell you, there's a gap there, and we got to help the parents. We got to get this information out to them, because, this technology that's out there that's happening so quick is hurting our children. So just like anything, everything has to be handled in moderation. Tell us best ways if we just want to learn a little bit more. You mentioned we can go to your website, but tell us how to get in contact with you. Let's say other forms of social media. Let's say Twitter and Facebook. How can we get in contact with you?
You can either find me as Tali Orad, or you can find GetScreen on Facebook. GetScreen.com is our website, and Screen Now is the way to reach us on Twitter.
Gotcha. Tali, thanks so much for taking the time out tonight to talk
Thank you,
with
Todd.
us. Oh,
Ted, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. But you butchered my name, so I...
Yes. Totally.
Now we're even.
Yes, now we're even. No problem.
I'm sorry,
Tali.
Ted.
No, it's okay. Tali, thanks so much for joining us. We definitely want to have you come back because we want to talk about Screen. We want to see how things are coming along, and I'm definitely interested in becoming a beta user and, hopefully evangelist for your product. So thank you once again for joining us.
Thank you.
And that was Tali Orad. We both butchered each other's names tonight, but it was a great conversation. We had two wonderful guests on tonight. As I mentioned at the onset of the show, it's Women's History Month. It's an annual declared month that highlights the contributions of women to events in history and contemporary society. It's celebrated during the month of March in the United States, the United Kingdom, and Australia, and it corresponds with International Women's Day on March 8th, and during October in Canada, corresponding with the celebration of Persons Day that happens in October. So we want to thank, we had two fantastic guests. I know I'm running out of time, but I wanted to talk really quickly about 5 rules of salary negotiation. I'll just give you the 5 quick tips. And I might have done this on a previous show, but it's so important because we're out there, we're working, we're for those of us that are fortunate enough to find a job out in these tough times, when you finally get that job or when you're asking for a raise, 5 quick things of what to do, what not to do is number 1 is avoid accepting the first offer. Number 2 is don't be the first to share a number, meaning don't share your salary. Keep that amongst you, Number 3 is keeping your emotions in check. Number 4 is remember to negotiate additional perks. And number 5 is find balance between what you're worth and what your employer can offer. This post right here is available on latenightparents.com, and it's under 5 rules of salary negotiation. And the header is it's a picture of, someone asking, need some help negotiating. It's so important. I want to tell you guys, thanks so much, as always, for listening to the podcast. Really appreciate you. We're going to have a great month during the month of March. And with that, I think we're going to close out with Change and Speak. Love you much. Thank you.